Alright guys, Chelsea and Fulham have just drawn 0-0, and this is a game which I think Chelsea will have to feel very disappointed. Now don't get me wrong, I understand with the amount of signings they've made that it is going to take time to get it all working, like functioning as smoothly as they want to. I mean, I know Chelsea will be hoping for better than Nottingham Forest, but if you look at Nottingham Forest at the start of the season, it took time for like 10 matches or so to get all the players to gel properly and work well together. And that's just the case when you throw a new team together. It's not gonna. It's very unlikely that it'll click straight away. It's like for instance in this game, Chelsea had three complete Premier League debutants in Enzo Fernandez and two substitutes, David Datro Fofana and also Noni Madueke, as well as Mikhailo Mudrik's first ever start in the Premier League. So yeah, it's just so many new players to this team that I just don't think it's gonna click instantly. But this game they had chances. Kai Havertz had a couple of good chances in the first half. The first one couldn't quite stretch far enough to get good contact or direct it on to where he wanted it to go. Tim Ream actually got a slight touch on it in the end, which was really good defending just to take it away from Havertz. And the second one, it is really unlucky. He's done the right thing, dinked it over the keeper, and like the two defenders running back to try and stop it on the line, they're not getting there, and yeah, it's come off the post. So it just wasn't Havertz's night in the end, really. And Fulham, they had moments in the first half, definitely, but I don't think they really created many clear goal scoring opportunities. There were a couple of times where they tested Kepa in the first half and in the second half as well, actually. They came close to scoring on a few occasions throughout the game, but I think on the whole, Chelsea probably came the closer to scoring. I think the best chance in the entire game, though, definitely fell to the substitute, Fofana, who did really well to get it past Bernd Leno in goal. And then he's done incredibly well to beat Issa Diop as well. And then he just doesn't quite have the composure to take another touch, because he does have the time to get it a bit more out of his feet if he wants. He wasn't balanced greatly. He was a little bit off balance. And Tim Ream is on the line, and he's just got to pick his spot a bit better. He's mostly just focused on trying to get it on target and hoping for the best. In that situation, I think a player with a bit more experience, because he's still a very young player, this is his first time in a really competitive league. I think he's come from the Swedish league. You've just got to be a bit more composed. And to be fair, that happens with any young player, I think. So I don't think we should be, giving him too much criticism for that. But Fulham, for the majority of the game, defended really well. There were only a couple of occasions where they did look like a little bit shaky. So yeah, I think they deserve a lot of credit, especially the fullbacks. I thought Kenny Tete and Anthony Robinson were brilliant in this game, as were the midfield in Harrison Reed, João Palhinha. Willian, I thought, especially was brilliant at both going forward and going backwards. He has a really good game. And yeah, I think Fulham, the only disappointment would be that they didn't really create that one chance which that they could grab and nick all 3 points, which would be an incredible achievement for Fulham to do the double over Chelsea, like with 2 games in a month. So yeah, I mean, even just 4 points out of 6 against Chelsea is still really good. But I can't remember a time, certainly not in my lifetime of watching football, which is about 13-14 years now. I can't remember Fulham ever doing the double over Chelsea. They may have done, but I definitely it definitely doesn't happen often if it has happened before. But yeah, Chelsea's new signings, though, if I evaluate each one, Enzo Fernandez I thought had a really good first half, but then second half he played a quieter role, definitely. But first half he was getting on the ball lots. spraying a lot of passes and also winning the ball from Fulham, because Fulham were getting forwards a lot more in the first half than in the second half. I think during the second half, with all of the substitutes and attacking players that Chelsea were throwing onto the pitch, like Raheem Sterling, Noni Madueke, David Datro Fofana, who else did they bring on? There was someone else, I'm sure. There'll be someone there that'll come to mind in a second, I'm sure. But they were throwing a lot of, attacking players onto the pitch. So I think Fulham were mostly just concentrated on trying not to concede, and then if they could get forward on the counter attack, then they would go for it. But they were trying to protect what they already had in not conceding at that point in the game so far. So yeah, it wasn't a bad idea, to be fair. And Madueke and Fofana had that one opportunity to score. Probably should have scored. Definitely should have scored, actually. And Madueke, he got on the ball a few times, but he failed to really have a period where he managed to beat his man consistently. And I don't think it helped Madueke that when Sterling came on for Ziyech, obviously Sterling's going to play on the left and Ziyech plays on the right. So Madueke had to switch sides after only about 10-15 minutes after coming on the pitch. And I think a lot was made of Mudryk being subbed off at half time. Now, he did have a quiet first half, that has to be said. He certainly didn't have the impact that he had in the Liverpool game when he came off the bench. But I feel as though we're coming up against Kenny Tete at right back, as opposed to Trent Alexander-Arnold, maybe. That's a little bit of a different game, because Kenny Tete is a good player, first of all, a very underrated player, but also a lot more conservative than Alexander-Arnold. He's going to leave you a lot less room in behind to run into. So I think that stifled Mudryk a little bit. And also I think you have to take into account that Mudryk, but first of all, he's had the criticism in the past week over what he's said on social media. I'm not going to go into that, because first of all, what he said he shouldn't have said, but I don't like dwelling on the past, so yeah, I'm not going to get into that. But and so he has faced criticism this week, and also he hasn't actually played that much football recently, because Ukraine didn't go to the World Cup, and also with like the transfer from Shakhtar happening, he hasn't really played much. I think the only time he's played is that cameo against Liverpool in the past 2 or 3 months ago, 2 or 3 months or so. So I think he still might be a little bit, lacking match fitness maybe. So I think that definitely needs to be taken into account when people talk about, oh, that's not a good looking being subbed off at half time. But yeah, I don't think that there's too much of a problem with it. And yeah, the obvious thing to come out of this game is going to be the amount that Chelsea spent on players in January, and the fact that Todd Bowley's going to be wanting results from Graham Potter. I think if Todd Bowley's smart, he'll give Graham Potter the rest of the season, and also the summer. So not only can Potter, because the January transfer window, even though they've brought in players that they wanted to bring in, you cannot shape a squad how you want to in a month. You need at least a summer or 2 or 3 months to do that. Like if Erik ten Hag had come in to Manchester United when Ralph Rangnick came in, United would still have done similarly to how they did under Rangnick last season. Ten Hag's only had the success he's had this season, 1, because he's a good manager, 2, because he's had that summer to first of all get his ideas across to the players of how he wants them to play, how he wants them to train, and also he's managed to get the players he wanted to bring in the squad. So I think they have to give Graham Potter the summer to get what he wants with the team done. And then if results haven't improved by, I don't know, Christmas next year, then maybe you can start to ask questions. But I think Chelsea will just go round in circles if they do not. If they do get rid of Graham Potter and try it with someone else, you've got to let the ball roll before you stop it. That phrase is going to you know that saying's going to catch on, isn't it? You got to let the ball roll before you stop it. Definitely not one that's going to be quoted in years to come. But yeah, Fulham, it's another brilliant result. A clean sheet at Stamford Bridge. Okay, they didn't score. I'm sure they would have loved to, but you know, Fulham this season their goal is going to be to get that Conference League spot. It's going to be really tough with Liverpool and Chelsea just behind Brentford as well. But I think people are going to look at Liverpool and Chelsea with the individual quality that they have got in their squad. No disrespect to Brentford, and think, okay, Liverpool and Chelsea think that some point their form's going to pick up. So Fulham are going to have to keep at it and make sure they try and keep a gap between the two, because it'll only take a few games potentially for Liverpool and Chelsea to catch up. So yeah, it's going to be a tough ask from Fulham to get into a European spot this year, but who knows, crazier things have happened in football. My man of the match for this game I've given to Kenny Tete, because I just thought he was brilliant for the entire 90 minutes. And that involved many things. His in possession play, I thought he was really good. The fact that he kept Mudryk really quiet, didn't allow him to get on the end of any through balls, didn't allow him to run with the ball, and didn't really allow him to get on the ball full stop, to be honest. So he had an excellent game. So yeah, I think he fully deserves to be one of the man of the matches. Anyway, I've given him the man of the match. Yeah, but anyway, interesting game to watch. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.